Hi everyone, welcome to another art criticism video. Today we're going to talk about Salvador Dali. I am a little scared to talk about this because I find this painting to be a little intimidating. But if I draw it, I'm going to see stuff and it's going to be so exciting. So thanks for tuning in. My students and everyone, your first step is to go ahead and draw. Draw what it is that you are seeing. And again, this is a short sketch. So yeah, just draw it, kind of take it in. And here I go. I'm just gonna sketch and I am like, what is it that I'm seeing? It is so confusing. These look like a bunch of peanuts. And you know, when we've talked about this in dealing with the still life, but when you're, let's see if I can find yellow, yeah. When you're drawing something, you can also divide your page into like halves or thirds and be like, okay, on this side of the page, I got this. So like you could just do lines. This is not supposed to be pretty. You're just kind of like seeing the whole composition. I'm seeing the side of this rock. What is this, a mountain? And the whole point of this is to just kind of notice, okay, I see this weird volcano in the back. Is this a volcano that's erupting? And I'm seeing all of these waves. Art criticism should not be something that is scary. It should be accessible to all students. And I believe as an educator, we should model the thinking. So students, hopefully you're listening. And yeah, I'm adding all sorts of hatching and cross hatching. I'm thinking about the values. I'm like, okay, what is happening? What is this thing? And I'm wondering, is this supposed to be the hand? This seems like a reflection in another world. Just so everyone knows, I have never read about this piece. I know Dali is cool, but I don't know what this is about. And I'm noticing, whoa, there is another hand on the other side. Guys, people, like, look at this thumb. Look at the detail. Do not stress out about drawing hands, everyone. I mean, it is just... Yes, it is so hard to draw hands. It's true. But it's okay. Okay, you're not getting graded on this hand. Like what? Who could be graded on drawing this hand? I mean, this is a weird hand. And it's okay when you're thinking about art. If it's weird, it's weird. I mean, what is this? An egg? With a flower coming out? I'm going to give that some dark shading. Again, you could be drawing with a light pencil, light line weight. Whoa. It does not matter. Just a quick sketch to show that you've looked at this. Okay, we got a flower happening. We got like, now this hand looks more like a hand than this. This is like a likeness. This is kind of a reflection. I mean, we have a reflection going here. And if you don't want to draw the whole thing, just write what you see in this box. Reflection. And then what is this? What is this? Weird creatures. I can't draw this. It's okay. Like you can, just do a sketch, a 5-minute sketch, and then call it a day. This looks like a chessboard in the back. Maybe I can sketch that. You draw what you can, whatever you can in the first 5 minutes. With a guy. Is this guy naked? What? And then we got another mountain. So these are like two different worlds, right? Or is this like a parallel universe happening? Again, I've never read about this. So we have weird creatures. We have like two different worlds. We have cool colors over here. Well, actually, they're kind of warm. Cool versus warm. Maybe grab your markers. Take a minute to think, okay, well, what color is that? That blue's a little bit more intense. When you stop and you color something, you notice more. We got these red clouds. And by picking a color, you have to put words to it and call it what it is. So you see more details. We got some dark green happening. And we got this shadow. So I tell my students, I'm like, okay, look, draw it so you can see it. We got so much bright red. And the hand is kind of a lighter value. We have this sacred egg. What is the sacred egg? What does it symbolize? Rebirth? Like Christ, people... Everything, you can always connect things to Jesus, guys. Separation of church and state, I know. Just saying. The scriptures are a thing. Got dark value happening there. Sometimes you can just stop and shade. Okay, well, where is the dark value? Where's the light coming from? And whoa! If I hadn't drawn it, I wouldn't have noticed this like party of people. What is this, a dance party? I'm not going to draw them. Actually, I'll draw little stick figures. Dance party. I totally didn't. I would say maybe that's the focal point, but I didn't notice them at first. It's like something you need to find. So we got the dance party balancing this guy, and are they naked? I don't know. Okay, go ahead, stop, pause your video, do a quick sketch. Maybe, I don't know, I would emphasize this division right here, these two different worlds, right? It's like the water divides them almost. And yeah, so this is the art criticism unit, and we do a fast sketch. It doesn't need to look nice in order to just show we're seeing the art and we're taking it in. Oh, by the way, I think this is called Metamorphosis. I'll put the right title on the title of this video. Metamorphosis something 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 by Dali. His name's Salvador Dali, if you want to write the whole name. So go ahead, yeah, pause. Make sure you have a sketch. Don't spend forever because the objective is to talk to your partners eventually. Talk in class, text your buddy, turn to your partner, talk about what it is that you're seeing. Okay, again, this is Metamorphosis, something or other. You can look it up by Dali. You can Google image it. Dali is awesome, by the way, guys. So learn about him. All right, pause your video, make sure you've drawn, and then we'll keep going with criticizing this work of art. All right, it looks like we're back on moving forward. Hopefully you didn't spend forever drawing that, guys. I told you. Our next step is to go ahead and divide the page. Divide the page into 4 pieces. Okay, our first step would be, I will pick a darker value for this. Our first step with art criticism is to describe. So describe, and that's where we talk about the elements of art. Our next step is to analyze. That's where we talk about the principles of design. Our third step is to interpret. Why did I not make that bigger? That's where we talk about a theme or a message. And our fourth step is to go ahead and judge. So judgment, is it a good work of art? Why or why not? Judgment. And here we go, guys, rock and roll. So my advice is to pick 3 elements of art to focus on. I am going to go ahead, I'm going to pick my 3 different elements. Wow, I think the dominant element is probably shape, because I see a bunch of weird shapes. I'm going to talk about value, because, oh my gosh, lots of dark and light value, and then color. So here we go. Let's just go to it and jump right into description. So as far as shape, and again, I always forget, but you should also talk about what it is that you see. And maybe you want to go back and you may want to edit or annotate with questions. You got a hand in the foreground. You have a hand in the background. You have an egg. So I would call out with a flower. I would call out major symbols before you move on. And again, we kind of noticed everything in this step. You got the dance party. Dance party happening here. And lonely man here. You got a chessboard. So, make sure you take the time to annotate and just give words to everything that you're seeing. Okay, the shape is organic, mostly. The only geometric shapes I'm seeing are the chess pieces. Chess, and by that I mean board. chessboard. So the chessboard right there, that seems to be the only geometric shapes I'm seeing. Again, organic shapes have to do with life. Geometric shapes have to do with geometry and math and order. Organic shapes are more like free-flowing, lack of order. Chessboard, only geometric shape. And notice how I don't know, he doesn't look happy with order. Organic, mostly chess pieces, geometric shape. World is one of uncertainty because of all, and growth, because it's just weird. And growth. We got a hand growing out of the thing. Makes me think of life. So we're starting to get ready to interpret slowly. We're starting to get ready to interpret. Also, I don't know, you guys, I'm seeing like a fire versus water thing when I look at the shapes. So I wonder what that symbolizes. I'll get to it in the interpretation part. Okay, so great. So, pause your video whenever to catch up. I went ahead and I talked about shape and I talked about value. So our next step is, oh no, I didn't talk about value. Now I'm going to talk about value. There is and you can write fun. It's art class. So much dark value. I mean, look at it. We got huge spaces of black, and painters hardly ever use black. I mean, we have so much black happening. It's a little crazy. And we have shadows. Again, we're still seeing things. And shadows, a strong light source. So light makes me think of truth, FYI, guys. Because look, we got all this light shining on the hand, shining on the egg, which symbolizes who knows what. We have dark clouds. There's just so much happening. And I hear my children screaming. So I'm going to pause this video and go help. And I'll keep going in a second. All right, guys, we are back on. Sorry for the interruption. Periodically, I'm interrupted by my children. You guys know that. Did you know I'm a mom? Just kidding. Okay, as far as colors, like I was saying earlier, there really is this divide between warm and cool colors. So, fiery, because that's what I look at when I see this. Fiery and dry. And dry, warm colors create contrast. And remember, the word contrast means difference. Create contrast with cool colors. Fiery and dry, warm colors create contrast with cool colors. Okay, so that's kind of like where we are. Like the colors are bold and intense, especially the warm ones, The cool colors are a bit more dull. Like they don't have as much chroma, right? Whereas these are like really yellow. Cool. The cool side, and we could call this two sides. The cool side versus the warm side, because I'm getting this dramatic tension happening in here. This like serious juxtaposition. So the colors are fiery and dry. Warm colors create contrast with cool colors. Bold and intense, especially the warm and the cool. The cool colors are dull. The cool colors are dull, meaning they're not as bright. So I'm wondering what that's saying. Okay, guys, so what I did was I went ahead and I focused on different elements, 3 dominant, shape, color, value. And I said something about it. And then also, again, in my introduction, I started to describe things like I noticed the egg, the flower, the hand, the reflection of the hand, the crazy dance party, and the lonely guy in the chess set. Also, now I'm seeing the mountain in the clouds, and whoa, is this a dead tree? Guys, look, I thought I was done, and I just noticed something. Art is the best. Dead tree. It's almost like makes me think of heaven versus hell or life versus death. Sorry, guys. You thought you were done with me. Life versus death. I don't know. I don't know if that's right. Again, I've never read about this, but I'm just modeling how your drama, sorry, that's the wrong subject. I teach drama too. Your journal should very be much a place where you are thinking about art. And here, guys, we are thinking about Metamorphosis by Dali. Thank you so much. I mean, I love it. I love it when you guys like turning your work where you're drawing and you're writing about art. And we're not done with this video, okay? Pause your video. Make sure you've described everything in this Dali piece. And then we're going to go on to analysis. So pause your video, catch up. All right, guys, hopefully you paused your video. We're on to analysis with this Dali piece. Analysis is when we identify the principles of design in the work. We're going to pick some dominant ones. As we've been doing in this video series, I recommend focusing on 3. Okay, so let's get to it. For this one especially, I do think we should focus on balance, on visual balance, because clearly we got like a mirror effect happening here with 2 worlds. So we'll talk about balance. Is it even on both sides? Always good to talk about emphasis, right? Because then we're getting into more work about symbols. Where does the artist want our eye to go? And then fabulous, moving on to unity. I would never not talk about unity, I think, permanently, because that is the goal of a work of art, that it's unified. Balance. Here we go, guys. Balance. I mean, remember we've been talking about it? There are like 2 worlds. So both hands, and we'll put them as quote as hands. Let's see. Should I say that they're growing from the ground like trees? I just did. Both hands growing. I can hear my kids screaming. From the ground. Are incredibly, and I should make it more notey. Use not so many big words. Visually heavy. So I don't know if we would say that this hand is a focal point and this hand, wah, or this egg. Oh, maybe the 2 eggs are focal points, so I didn't see this one. Both are holding eggs. This creates 2 worlds, one of warm color and one of cool color, that are similar but different. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, emphasis. Next one, emphasis. Okay, so where does our eye go first? My eye goes here first, and then I'm like, this is an afterthought. So again, this is subjective. Our, in my opinion, right, because a focal point is suggestion, eye first goes to the egg. Make sure you're always explaining why. I will see that in your writing. I'll be like, explain why. Because there is so much contrast. And also, because look, the egg is like surrounded by dark clouds. Whoa. Also, the lines of the hand / fingers, they're kind of like converging lines, are pointing in that direction. Right, and you could go on and you could talk about how this is like the second focal point, or maybe you want to make the argument that this is the first focal point. But I think Dali wants us to look here. Whoa. And then there. Okay, like there and then there. Again, I haven't read about this piece. I'm just taking guesses. The tree has something to do with it. We'll go deeper when we interpret. Now, again, this video is meant to just get your brain going, and then you can continue to have conversation with your partners, with your neighbors. Talk to your neighbors. Be like, hey, have you ever seen Dali's Metamorphosis? Unity. It is totally unified. All art is unified, usually, if it's famous, because that's what makes art good. It is totally unified because of... Now, why is it unified? Well, I would say two separate clusters. The warm side and the cool side. Warm versus cool. So as we've talked about in art, like you could organize things in different groups. That creates unity. There are also two different groups of humans. And then the color palette is limited. Like you could talk about that to like reds and browns and then dark greens. Color palette is limited to dark browns and greens and some blues. Greens. And then there is, I'm running out of space. Repetition of big symbols like the egg and the hand trees, whatever we want to call them. Okay, so that's so cool, guys. Okay, so again, for this step, I want you to focus on some, like at least 3 principles. You can talk about movement. You can also talk about rhythm, though I don't know if there's rhythm. You could argue that like the finger shapes are being repeated in a random kind of way to create chaos. But yeah, you talk about focal point, unity, balance, any sort of principle of design. Google image, principles of design if you need a refresher. Pause your video and think about all of the different elements of art, principles of design, write about it, and we're going to keep going. Hey everyone, microphone's on. Hopefully you paused and you wrote about your description, your analysis, the elements of art you want to focus on, and the principles of design. Fabulous. Let's go ahead. Let's keep on chugging forward with interpretation. Interpretation is where we write the theme, and we are going to go ahead and we are going to think about the topics, the big symbols. I don't know about you guys, but I'm thinking about like this flower, right? So what does that flower represent? So birth, growth, the egg could represent a new beginning. The crack in the egg makes me think of flaws. The hands make me think of free will. It is our choice as humans about what we're going to go ahead and what we're going to do with our life, whether or not we're going to make good choices versus bad. That brings me to like this heaven versus hell kind of image, right? So good versus evil thing happening. A loss of innocence. I think these people are naked, guys. I don't know. Okay, so loss of innocence and obviously life. Obviously division, right? Because we got this huge divide happening. You know, cools versus light. We got contrast. And then, I'm glad that we brought up light. Light makes me think of truth. So again, in this first step, like of interpretation, I would just brainstorm kind of like main topics you're thinking about. And students, you could do like mind maps during a fire rite. That's cool. You could do a little circle map, big topics, just as long as you're brainstorming about the work of art. Okay, so let's just keep on moving. Once you've brainstormed your topics, then you basically made a word bank for yourself. We have to ask ourselves, what is Dali saying about good versus evil, birth, growth, a new beginning, humans' flaws, truth, free will, the loss of innocence, division. You could pause your video. What other topics did I not mention? Take a sip of water, get a snack. Okay. So as far as interpretation, you want to start off your theme probably with Dali in Metamorphosis. You could say the whole title once we figure it out. Dali is, here's a good sentence starter, conveying, that is a fancy academic word, ooh, conveying the idea that life is filled with flaws such as evil. I don't know, I'm seeing like, I'm just thinking of the Garden of Eden. I'm thinking about like, are they doing bad stuff because they look like they're dancing as evil? Humans have free will and one chance, because life is short, right? We got the death over here, like the hell, the dead egg, to choose what side to be on, good versus evil. Okay, I know what you're thinking. You're like, wait, miss, your theme is in 2 sentences. That's okay. Just as long as you have an idea that's original in yours, conveying the idea that life is filled with flaws, such as evil. Humans have free will, right? I got that from kind of like us holding the egg. We have a choice. What side of the pond are we going to be on? Now, notice, are they on the desert side? Yeah, this person's on the desert side. So maybe he's divided and alone because he chose wrong. Who's on this side? No one. Right? So maybe most people do choose evil and eventually they will, I don't know, what is this saying? This is only the beginning. Once to choose what side to be, good versus evil. So I don't know. This is a pretty dark piece, right? Hopefully you talked about topics. Make sure you have a theme, a full sentence theme, guys. Right here. Think about, like, talk to your partner. Pause. Hopefully you talk to your partner about what you think this means in your own words. Keep up the good work, everyone. Now we're going to write a sentence about judgment. But pause your video. Make sure you've written a full sentence, interesting theme. And you know, guys, I haven't read about this. I might be wrong. I mean, maybe the water represents narcissism. Maybe the rock represents something. Maybe this whole thing's about climate change. I mean, you know, it really, we bring our own personal experiences to a work of art. So go ahead, pause, talk to your partners. What do you think this means? Okay, pause. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. Hopefully you paused your video. Last step with art criticism is judgment. I think this, again, you could say it's not a good work of art, right? Is a fabulous, darling, fabulous work of art because, oi, 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 oi. Again, the purpose of this video is to model the thinking and for you to pause and think. So kind of like pause the video. Is this a good work of art? What do you think? Don't listen to what I think. You may disagree with me. I think it's a horrible work of art because what is that? I don't know, you know. Okay, so it is a positive because it has me intensely reflecting about my own, oops, can't spell, own inevitable, like it's going to happen no matter what, mortality. Mortality means death, and the important choices all of us make every day that will lead to our destiny and where we'll go in the afterlife. Not that I believe that or I don't, yada, yada, yada. But you know, there's so much here. I didn't even talk about the mountain or the storm. I don't know what this art is about. What I'm basically demonstrating, everyone, is you could come to any painting. You don't have to read an article about it. And you can describe it, analyze, interpret, and judge it. You can criticize it because you are in art class and you're learning about the elements and principles and how they can come together to create a theme, to draw the eye in, think about life and birth and death and evil and whatever this painting is about. Again, interpretation and judgment, that's completely subjective. Description and analysis, that is more subjective. Make sure you back up your writing, like I've been saying, with evidence. This is a beginning. Make sure you explain why always in your English, in your art classes, in your science, with evidence. So explain why in art, evidence is what you see, right? So I see like dead trees. That's why I think this is a death. I see a flower. A flower represents life. Make sure you explain it. Again, your writing is yours. Don't copy each other, but do work with each other to kind of like figure out what is it? What do I think? What life experiences of mine am I bringing to this piece? How does this reflect about my life? And again, you can write more or less. Heck, I'm just glad if you do something. I'm glad if you think. But push yourself. Push yourself to be ready for college. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Stay in for the next video. And look at your own art. I mean, look at your art. Think about how you could bring these ideas to your own art. And look at other works of art. And start to recognize, start to articulate for yourself what makes art good. And what kind of art do you love? And what kind of art do you enjoy? We are learning how to appreciate art, guys. Okay, thank you so much. Bye-bye.